It's the big deal from the throne speech, potentially creating thousands of jobs and bringing billions of dollars into Canada's economy. Stephen Harper is flying off to Europe today to seal a comprehensive free trade agreement.
The government will soon complete negotiations on a comprehensive economic and trade agreement with the European Union. This agreement has the potential to create 80,000 new Canadian jobs.
New jobs, always welcome, and this deal is a big one. It has been years in the making. Scott Peterson's been spending the morning going over the details. He's here on our top story. What more do we know about the deal so far, Scott?
Well, we know it's been years in the making. It's made the appearance in 2 throne speeches. The Prime Minister's been criticized for what's taking so long because this could create thousands of jobs, billions of dollars for the economy. So what we're hearing now is it's called a framework for a deal with the Prime Minister flying off today. This gives Canada access to the largest trading bloc in the world with 500 million people. 80,000 jobs is the estimate for the benefit to Canada at this point. That's from the Canadian manufacturers and exporters. You could argue that they are very interested in this deal going through, so they're putting their best foot forward with those numbers. But it also gives more access for us to the largest trading bloc. And on the other side of the equation, there's people saying that, that the tariffs that are going to be coming off for about 98% of the European goods are there for a place. For example, Canada has a shorter growing season to protect our crops against somebody with a longer season in the U.S., for example, and also our manufacturing base. That we have less people here traditionally than in the U.S., and the tariffs were in place to protect what is a larger market, which is a more expensive market to transport to. So those tariffs expected to be eliminated if this deal goes through.
So that would mean then, obviously, for some industries, they're going to be affected for better or for worse. What kind of response are you hearing from various interested parties?
Well, the bigger the company is, the more they're going to like this. So the exporters with big business, deep pockets, multinational companies are loving this deal. And we're hearing from the Cattle Association, the Saskatchewan Cattle Association in particular, Mark Elford. No surprise, he loves this deal. This is what he says it will mean for cattle grazers.
We welcome this. It's a good news story for us. Having some tariffs removed, being able to move more beef into another spot, that's good news for our markets. So we're real pleased with that.
So good news for the markets, anybody with exporting capabilities, but for domestic producers, people producing things just for this country could be at a disadvantage with cheaper imports coming in for Europe. For example, famously the dairy farmers already saying they're up in arms against this. They're going to have to compete with a doubling of imports from Europe and elimination of up to 200% tariffs. So they are really under the gun, and this is what they're saying on their website in regards to this deal, potential deal going forward as well. They're saying this potential deal is a loss for Canadian dairy farmers and industry, would take income from dairy farmers, and their communities and give it to the European industry. With a loss of farm income and squeeze on cheesemakers, it is also taking economic development and jobs from Canadian communities. You could say that about any domestic producer as well across Canada, and we're probably going to see lots of reaction to this potential deal going through as the Prime Minister flies off to Brussels.